more specifically, how do we do this, right? How do we get from too long, didn't read to great read, loved it? I can't really give you a prescription for that, per se. I can give you some guideposts, though, to sort of guide you along the way. I talk about this a lot in Everybody Writes. There is no one way to write, right? There's no correct way to write. I got hung up on this a lot when I was learning to write when I was in school. There is no one way to write, just like there is no one way to raise a child the right way, and there is no one way to roast a turkey, right? But there are really terrible ways to do all three. So that's what I wanted to do with the book, and what I wanted to do here today, too, is give you some, I don't know, bumpers on the bowling lane, I guess, to sort of keep you out of the gutter. But there is no one way to do this. Just keep that in the back of your mind. So 3 things that I think we can think about, 3 things that are sort of a guidepost along this way to better writing, is to focus on these 3 things, on empathy and experiences instead of just more articles and blog posts. Right, so I want to talk about what that means in a minute, and I'll show you some examples of companies who I think do that really well. The second thing is to focus on relevant and inspired stories. Drew talked a lot about inspiration this morning, and I want to share a few more specifics about that. The third thing is to focus on useful, right? Being ridiculously useful to the people we want to talk to have pathological empathy for their wants, for their needs, for their desires. You know, how can we help them, right? How can we be useful to them? Another way to look at that is through this Venn diagram, which somebody created after they saw me speak one day. Useful, enjoyable, and inspired is the nexus, right? So the center of that is innovative content. It's also really great writing, as it happens. Because ultimately, we want to tell true stories well, right? I've talked about this for a number of years now, but great content and great storytelling, for that matter, is really about telling true stories really well in a marketing context. So 5 steps to start. The first thing is to follow a writing GPS. So what do I mean by that? I mean to lay out a plan for yourself as you're thinking about any big piece of content that you're putting out, or even something very small, right? Think about a writing GPS. What plan can you follow? Always in marketing is to think about your goal, right? Where's home? Where do you want to end up, right? Your goal becomes your sort of bonfire on a beachhead, right? Your goal is what you're going for, not only for marketing, but in the writing itself, right? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to communicate? It's a lot. I just went over that in like 2 slides, but trust me, there's a lot of thinking that goes into this. As Tina Fey says, I'm going to go talk to some food about this. You can take a minute and talk amongst yourselves while I have some water. No, I'm kidding. So where do you start? Where do you go from here? First, ask yourself, so what? So what for every piece of content that you're creating, and then answer, because. And then essentially, you repeat this process all the way through. So to give you a quick example, for demonstration purposes only, say that this is your product, right? Cat hats. Not the cat hats. And it's a really silly example. First I had a serious one in there, and then I decided that you guys were a fun crowd, right? So we're talking about cat hats, not the cat hats. This is Mr. Fox, by the way. It's my son's cat. So say that you, as a marketer, I want to drive awareness of and interest in our new hat patterns for cats because we want to sell more hat patterns for cats to cat hat knitters. So just say that you've done all that thinking, you've eaten all that food, and now you've gotten to here. Okay, great, this is your goal. So what, right? What does that mean for the customer, right? So what? What does that mean? Because our new patterns make it stupid easy in 3 specific ways for novice knitters to quickly produce awesome cat hats, which makes for happier, less frustrated knitters and warmer cat noggins. Okay, so what? Because inefficiency and complexity are a pain to deal with, and they cause frustration and suffering for novice knitters. Okay, so what? Because pain, it hurts, and suffering is bad. In other words, you want to keep asking those so what questions, right, all the way through as you're iterating on your idea, as you're getting to that goal, right? As you're getting to that goal, keep asking yourselves these questions until you're asking questions that are best left to licensed philosophers, right? Actually, are philosophers licensed? Do you guys know this? Is there a board, an organizing committee, anything? I wasn't sure. I didn't have time to Google that. Anyway, here's my representative philosopher. So keep asking those so what questions until you're left at that point where you can't really answer it anymore. And then ask, no, really, what's in it for me, right? What's in it for your customer? Adopt the mindset of your customer with that pathological empathy. Because here's the thing, because with the cat hats that we'll create, or that you will create with our patterns, you will get the most likes on Facebook and make your cat photos go more viral than your crazy cat lady neighbor minis. So in other words, you've reframed it and you've put your customer into it, right? You've made the customer the hero. Oh, and this is a bonus too, by the way. They'll prominently be featured in content marketing presentations, like this one. So a plausible blog post title might be, "This hat catapulted Mr. Fox to Feline Today's best dressed list," or something. I made that one up, but you get the idea. Keep asking so what until you've reframed your entire discussion to put your customer at the center, right? Until you've made that value super clear, until you're thinking of things from their point of view. That is your bonfire on the beachhead.